everyone, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. For my card today, I've actually done some no-line coloring and some coloring of die cuts using products from the new Let's Celebrate release. Now here is Honeybee Stamps' new no-line coloring ink. This is a waterproof hybrid ink. And so I'm going to use this to stamp up some cute little honeybee images, and those are from the Just Because stamp set, and I also use the coordinating dies for this. I'm stamping this onto some watercolor paper because, like I said, I'm going to be doing some coloring with the Karin Markers. So they're like a watercolor marker, kind of like zigs. So now that I've got that stamped, I stamped it twice so I could get a good enough image that I can see. And here is that cute stamp set, the Just Because stamp set. Now I'm coming in and I have got my yellow color. So for the bees, I'm actually using gold, which is my yellow color, black, and then Arctic blue, and that I'm going to do for the wings. Something that I kind of discovered, I use Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers a lot, and I can just take the marker straight to the paper and then blend it out with water, and I get a really good blend. And it's probably just me, but when I'm using the Karin Markers, I feel like I need to get the paper a little bit wet to blend out the color. It's almost like the paper absorbs it more. Maybe it's even the type of watercolor paper that I'm using. So anyways, I figured out to lay some color down, then a little bit of my marker color, and then come back in and blending it out with more water. Something else I did is on my work surface for this black, because the Karin Markers are very concentrated in their color. So I actually colored my black marker onto my work surface. I've got the glass mat from Tim Holtz, but obviously, any surface that you're working with that will take that marker will work. And I colored it onto the surface and then just softened it with some water so it wasn't so dark black, because it just was not going to look right on these cute little honeybees. So now that those are done, I have already die cut my Lovely Layers Hydrangea, and I believe that there's 5 layers, and I'm coming in with sky blue, and this is the very back layer, and I'm just going to get the color on here. I am not really worried about anything looking great, because you're only going to see little bits and pieces of this, which we will add some more coloring to kind of make that a little more detailed. So I'm just trying to get all of the layers to have this sky blue color on, and then that dark blue that I added right there, and on this one is Egyptian blue, and I'm adding that to the flowers that are going to be seen as you build the layers from the bottom up. So I'm just laying that in the center and then blending that out, and you can see it really gives some dimension. Now I've got these 2 here. I actually only use the big one, but I'm doing the same thing. I'm laying down that sky blue color. First I put some water on there, lay down that sky blue, coming in with the Egyptian blue to give the center of the flower a little more interest and a little more detail. Now I've got the leaves. I've die cut a few of these, and I'm coloring it with Lush green. Again, getting it wet, laying down the color, and just blending it out. I really don't want these to look perfect, because I think that's the charm of when you're doing watercoloring. And I say that term loosely because I am not a watercolor person. So now here is that back layer. I'm going to lay the second layer on top of it, and you can see I've got a couple flowers there that I need to add some more detail with using the Egyptian blue. So I'm going to lay down a little bit of water, come in with that Egyptian blue, and add a few little details to the bottom part of the petals. This is going to make all the difference as you are adding these layers from this die set. And I just have to say, this die set is fabulous. But as you're adding those layers, you want it to look like there's just tons of flowers, because that's the point of this die cut. So you don't want to leave all of your flowers in the back just plain without details. So now that I'm finished coloring that, I'm going to add that top piece on, and you will see that I've got all those little back flowers that are going to stick out, and they have detail to them. Okay, now let's put this together. So here is the very back layer, then the second layer. Here's the third layer. Oh, so there's 4 layers on here, guys, not 5, 4. Here is the third layer, and you can see they get smaller as you go along. And then the fourth layer is just that single large flower. Now I did 2 of these because I need 2 for my card design. And I'm going to add my centers in. And I started to color those, but they're so tiny and it was kind of a pain. So I stopped coloring them. And what I decided to do was just adhere them down because they're die cut from white cardstock and color them when they are on their flowers, on the flowers. So now that that's on there, I'm going to add a little bit of water, coming in with that Egyptian blue Karin marker and just blending that out a little bit. And then you've got these two beautiful clusters of these hydrangea flowers. And I love that they're blue. They're so, so pretty. And as you can see here with all that depth and dimension and the different colors, there's a lot going on. I'm going to pop up some of those petals to give it a little bit more dimension. Now I'm using the Bitty Buzzword die. There is a coordinating stamp set to that, but I did not use it for this card design. I'm just using the die, and I'm using the one that says hello, and I'm die cutting that from gold mirrored cardstock, and I'm actually going to die cut that twice. And then I'm going to use the shadow that goes behind it. I'm actually going to die cut that from white cardstock. You could leave it alone and it would look really pretty, but I felt like I really wanted that gold to pop off of the card. So I'm going to adhere those two gold ones together. I'm doing that because I want this to have a little bit more dimension. You could glue quite a few of these together, or you could use some fun foam behind it and that would give it some dimension as well. And then I'm going to adhere it to that white shadow in the back, and I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue. And then I'm just going to adhere that into the center of the card. But first, let's get all these flowers glued down. I am gluing those flowers down to a piece of watercolor cardstock, and I just did a light blue wash over it using that sky blue because I did not want to see white cardstock through the holes in the flowers. So I'm going to adhere that to a white A2 size card base. I'm just going to center it in, and as you can see, it's as tall as the card is, it's just not as wide, which I thought was really quite pretty. I'm going to tuck in some of those leaves. Again, I'm just popping up the petals because I really want this to have dimension on the front. But I'm going to tuck in these leaves. I've got 4 leaves here, and just gluing those in. And this is going to fill up some of that open space and then add another color to this card, being that it's just kind of blue and white. And so you have this nice, really pretty pop of green. I'm going to add that sentiment right to the center between the two clusters of flowers. And then we've got those cute bees that we did that no line watercoloring on. And that again is from the Just Because stamp set, and I use the coordinating die. This little bee has 2 layers of foam tape behind it, and I'm just using some liquid glue because I really don't want these guys to go anywhere. I'm going to adhere those down, and then I'm going to finish off the card by adding a few small clear dewdrops. I like those on flowers because it looks like water droplets, and these ones are all the same size, which I think is perfect. So I'm just going to finish gluing those around, and then we have a completed card. And look at how pretty this is. That lovely layers hydrangea die is so, so pretty. Those little bees are so cute using the new no line coloring ink, and this card just turned out so super cute. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this project, and I will see you soon. Bye.